you want to start on your roller, today you can. If you don't have a roller or are not feeling the roller, just lie down on your back. So either way, we'll be lying on the back with the knees bent. If you don't have the roller, simply relax into the pull of gravity. Everybody can take the arms a little wider than the mat, the hands a little wider than the mat, turn the palms up. If you're on the roller, you're going to let the shoulders just drop down so the shoulder blades are draping the roller. And if you're on the roller, I'd like you to notice that your lower back's a little bit hyperextended probably. So if you feel like your back has a deep curve in it and your back ribs are up off the roller, just go into a little bit of an imprint with the back ribs. Try not to do it by tucking your tail, but bring yourself down into a neutral spine by bringing the ribs, the back ribs, into the imprint position. Take a moment there. Feel the neutral spine. Feel the length at the back of the neck. Even if you're on the roller, you can still use something to support the head if your chin feels like it's going too much up towards the ceiling. Let's engage the inner core, drawing the pelvic floor towards its center and gathering the belt of the transversus around. And then bring the arms down to the sides, a little bit closer on the mat. And then we'll inhale and take the arms up towards the ceiling. And maintain your neutral lower back curve as you reach the arms back towards the wall behind you. You may be bending your elbows at this point, but keep your neutral lower back. Inhale, arms split up, and then lower the arms down to the sides. Let's do it again. Inhale, float the arms up. Engage the inner core. If you're on the roller, you are using your imprinting obliques a little bit so that you're not going too far into that hyperextension. And then float the arms up towards the ceiling and relax the arms down to the sides. And one more time. Inhale, float up. And stabilize your neutral spine as you reach the arms back. And float them up towards the ceiling. And pause right there. Relax the shoulders down. Then we're going to take the hands behind the head. Interlace the fingers. Inhale, feel how the ribs are flaring out. And everybody knit your front ribs together. Imprint the back ribs down. Feel your neutral spine and maintain the neutral spine as you exhale and go into a head lift. And inhale, release the head back down, keeping your neutral spine, ribs knitting and imprinting. Exhale to lift and inhale to lower. And do it once more. Maintain your lift. Then we're going to reach on a diagonal, taking the right armpit towards the left knee. Inhale, back into the center, and exhale, left armpit towards the right knee. Inhale to the center. Exhale, right armpit to left knee. Inhale, center, and exhale, left armpit to right knee. Inhale, center, one more time each direction. And then release the head down. Bring the arms where they're comfortable. We're going to do alternate leg lifts. If you're on the roller, you may want your hands on the floor or just a couple inches above the floor. Or you can take them up towards the ceiling and drop the shoulder blades. This is more challenging. Engage the inner core. Knit your ribs down on a diagonal to the opposite back pockets. Imprint the back ribs and keep your pelvis steady as you lift the right foot up. And then lower it back down. And then bring the left foot up. And lower it back down. And again to the right side, stable pelvis, stable lower back curve, right up and down, easy shoulders, stabilize and left up. And down. And once again with each leg one more time. Right up and lower and left up and lower. Good. And then we'll bring the hands down to the sides. Relax the arms. You can turn the palms up to release tension from the shoulders. And we're going to do the pistons. Engage the inner core. Knit and imprint the ribs. Be sure the back ribs are steady. Lift the right foot up. And then the left. Make a right angle at the hip and at the knee and preserve the right angle at the knee. Knit and imprint the ribs and exhale. dip the right toes down to or towards the floor and then lift in your inhale. Exhale, left toes dip down, and inhale, come back up. Exhale, lower. Be sure that the back ribs are not pulling away from the mat as the foot goes down. Exhale, lower. Try to keep the leg that's not moving very still. Exhale, lower, and inhale, lift. Exhale, lower, and inhale, lift. One more time. Mind the back ribs. Keep the right angle behind the knee. Exhale, lower, and inhale, come back up. Now we're going to bring the right foot down, leave it down, continue to imprint, and lower the left foot down, and then relax. And if you're on the roller, slowly bring yourself off to the side. And everybody can bring your knees into the chest for a moment. Give the knees a little hug and rock from side to side on the sacrum. Relax the neck and shoulders. And let's place the feet down on the floor. If you have a small ball, take it now and place it between the knees, or you can use a blanket or a towel or a folded pillow. Upper body relaxed, spine in neutral. Inhale. Exhale, engage the inner core, knit and imprint the ribs, and press the knees towards each other. And then relax that. And again, stabilize and press. And then release the press. Feeling the inner thighs working. Staying stable in the lower back. Stable in the pelvis. Exhale to press. And inhale to release. And exhale, press. Inhale, release. Again, exhale and press, and then maintain the press. We're going to really engage the low core, pull the ribs firmly down to the back pockets, and lift both feet up off of the mat without letting the lower ribs jolt up off of the mat. We're going to do our 100 here. You can continue to hold the ball with the knees bent, or if you like, you can extend the legs, press the palms down, lift the head, and then exhale for 5 pulses of the arms, and inhale for 5. Exhale for 5, and inhale. Take a flat knee across the front of the belly, broadening out into the waist. Inhale. Drop the shoulders down, keep the arms active. Exhale for 5, and inhale. Exhale for 5, and inhale. Keep maintaining the low back curve. Exhale, and inhale. Exhale, chin in towards the chest. Drop the shoulders. One last set. Exhale. And inhale. Now bend the knees. Take the ball. Just put it off to the side and place one hand on each knee. Flop the knees out wide. Be passive in the legs. And then begin to stir the legs around. Nice loose hip circles. And reverse. And pull the knees in close, lengthen the lower back and the back of the neck. And keep the right knee into the chest, extend the left leg straight out onto the floor, pull the right knee towards the breastbone, extend the leg up, stabilize around the pelvis, knit and imprint the ribs. We're circling 8 times, nice straight, the right leg, keep the right leg steady, pelvis still. And then reverse. Keep knitting your ribs down on a diagonal to the opposite back pockets. And keep pulling your belt snug around your hips. When you're done with 8, bend the right knee, pull it into the chest, and then bring the left leg in to join it. Both knees hugging in, lengthen the lower back and the back of the neck, and then straighten the right leg out onto the floor. Left knee into the breastbone. And stabilize as you extend the left leg up. Belt, ribs knitting and imprinting, and circle the left leg 8 times each direction. Keep steady in the pelvis and the ribs. Eight times one way and then reverse and go 8 the other. Keep lengthening the leg. Keep the right hip down, the right ribs anchored. And then hug the left knee into the chest. And bring the right leg in to join it, and again lengthen the lower back and the back of the neck. I'm going to bring the feet up to the neutral tabletop. Engage the low core, knit and imprint. Lower the left foot down, and then the right. Actually, no, let's not lower the right. Let's bring the right ankle to the left knee. Keep the shoulders relaxed and place the left hand behind the head. We're going to do the Muffin Tops. We want to think of the whole shoulder, girdle, and ribs, the thoracic complex, all moving in one piece. So the right arm's relaxed to the sides. We're going to come up for 8 little pulses, bringing the left armpit towards the right knee. So as you exhale, lift, and then pulse 8 times. And then release back down and relax. We're going to do it twice more. Engage the low core, knit the ribs around in a diagonal. Lift the left elbow to the right knee and pulse 8 times. And then relax back down. Relax the neck and shoulders. One more time, gather the inner core, knit the ribs. Lift left elbow in the direction of the right knee and pulse 8 times. And release back down. Relax the left arm down to the side. Stabilize as you lower the right foot to the floor and lift the left leg up. Left ankle to the right knee, right hand behind the head. Exhale, engage the inner core. Take the right elbow up on the right shoulder up on the diagonal towards the left knee and do 8 pulses. And release back down. Be sure you're pulsing the armpit towards the knee, not vice versa. Exhale, stabilize, lift on the diagonal, and pulse 8 times. And release back down. One more time. Stabilize, then lift on the diagonal and pulse for 8. And release. And let's bring both knees into the chest. Hug them in. Rock a little bit side to side at the back of the sacrum. And then roll over onto your left side. We'll take the legs out long. Rest the left ear on the left arm. Right hand on the right waist or fingertips on the mat in front of you. Engage the low core, and as you exhale, lift both legs up. Squeeze the inner thighs together. We're doing 8s to and return to the center, squeezing the inner thighs and lift the right leg a little higher. 8 circles in each direction. And reverse. Then squeeze the inner thighs together. Externally rotate the legs. So you're going to roll out in the socket with both legs, and then pulse the legs together 8 times. Squeeze the heels together, come back into parallel and work the feet. Flex the feet back, squeeze the toes, point the feet, fan the toes, and flex back. Squeeze, point, fan, flex, squeeze, point, fan, and flex, and reverse it. Reach through the ball of the foot, squeeze the toes, and pull back. Open, reach, squeeze, and retract. Last one. And pull back into the center, and lower both legs down. We'll bend the legs, keeping a 0-degree hip flexion here. Engage the inner core and the organ lift, and let's do 8 rotations of the right leg in the socket. Keep the feet together. Externally rotate 8 times. When you're done, relax. And then bend the knees all the way to 90 degrees. Feet and ankle at the front of the mat. Take a moment and soften down into the mat. Relax your left side. Let the right waist soften. It's going to collapse. The distance between the hips and the ribs is going to be shorter here. I want you to keep the waist relaxed, please. Draw the right hip forward. Engage your belt around the hips, and then do 8 rotations of the right leg in the hip socket again. Try not to use your organ lift. Rely on your transversus, on the belt around the hips to keep the pelvis steady. When you're done, relax. Now let's open the angle at the front of the hips just a little bit. So your feet are going to come behind you. Again, relax the left waist, soften in the right waist. Keep the right waist relaxed as you use your inner core to stabilize the pelvis for 8 rotations here. You can think of pressing your right hip a little bit forward. And soften. Now I'm going to bring the bottom leg, the left leg, a little forward, and then use your right hand to sit yourself up. Just keep the legs in this V-sit position. It's a mermaid legs. Left hand will be on the mat. Going to raise the right arm up, and then exhale, side bend, letting the left forearm come down to the mat, and then reach up, and we'll reverse the stretch. Stretching the left side, and then bend down. Bring the left forearm down and stretch. As you stretch your arm up over your ear, reach your right sit bone down towards the mat. It's not going to be touching, but go in that direction. Come up and side bend. Stretch the left side, and one more time. Reach up and over. Lengthen the right side, and come up. And stretch to the left side, and come up tall, and we'll come down to lie on the right side. Lengthening both legs, bringing the feet slightly forward of the hips. Top hand on the waist or fingertips on the mat. Engage the inner core. Take an organ lift, squeeze the inner thighs and lift both legs up, and we're doing 8 lifts of the top leg. And then 8 lowering of the bottom leg. Squeeze the inner thighs and scissor 8 times. Make sure that you're keeping your ribs and hips still. And back into the center. Squeeze the inner thighs and lift the left leg a hair higher and circle it 8 times in each direction. And then reverse for 8 in the other direction. And then squeeze the inner thighs together and externally rotate both legs in the socket. So the heels are going to be together, and then we're going to pulse 8 times. And squeeze the inner thighs, come back to parallel and work the feet. Flex the feet, squeeze the toes, point the toes, fan the toes, and flex back. Squeeze, point, fan, and flex, squeeze, point, fan and flex, and reverse it with the toes open, reach, squeeze the toes and pull back. Open the toes and reach, squeeze and come back one more time. And then release. Take a moment, relaxing down to the mat. And then maintaining that hip extension, we'll bend at the knees, bring the feet behind. Engage the inner core and take an organ lift here. Keep the hips and ribs steady and do 8 external rotations. Keep the left hip pressing forward. When you're done with the 8, relax everything, and then bend to a 90-degree hip flexion, bringing the knees and feet to the front of the mat. Drop the left hip forward. Soften in your waist. Let the belly be soft, and find your inner core. Gather the transversus around the hips, and do 8 external rotations here. Using the low core to stabilize. And then relax. Then we'll go halfway between. Knees are at the front of the mat, feet are underneath you. Again, we're going to relax the waist and engage the transversus belt tilt the left hip forward and do 8 rotations here. And then relax. And then bring the right leg a little bit more in front of the left and push yourself up to sit for the mermaid. And we'll begin by sliding the right forearm down to the floor and stretching the left arm up and over. And then stop and side bend the right side. And come down, right forearm to the mat, stretch long with your left arm. Reach your sit bone down to the mat and come up and side bend the other way. Last one. Okay. And while we're seated, just turn on the mat, feet on the floor, knees bent. I'm going to take the hands gently behind the thighs. Engage the low core, scoop the belly in, and tilt back until you have your tail tucked between your legs and you're resting just behind your sit bones. We're not going to come up any higher than this. We're going to flex down a little bit further, and then bring yourself up to that same position without sticking your tailbone out behind you. Lift the breastbone and flatten the back. And then tuck. And roll back a little bit, and you can start to come down a little lower, maybe down to the sacrum. And then keep that same position as you roll forward, and then raise the chest, flatten the back, open the chest up, and one more time. Tuck, round back, and lift and flatten the back, open the chest. Now we're going to maintain right there, and extend the legs out and roll down to the floor. You can use your hands on the outside of your thighs if you like. Slowly bring yourself down. So you can get the sacrum down and then pause. And then roll down and get just the back ribs down on the mat and pause. And then release all the way down and stretch the arms up long overhead. Float the arms to the ceiling. Keep the arms in the vertical. Bend the knees. Feel your neutral spine. Set your inner core. Your ribs knitting and imprinting. And lift the left foot up. Keep imprinting and bring the right foot up and go into the abdominal series. Raise the head. Bring both hands to one knee and stretch the other leg and switch. And then transition to the double leg. Keep your neutral spine. Exhale away from the center and inhale back around. Exhale, reach away from the center. Be sure you're imprinting. Exhale, reach out and inhale, come around. Exhale, stretch out and come around. Last time, exhale, stretch out. Keep the legs straight. Transition to your single straight leg stretch. Maintain the neutral spine. Keep the chin in lifted to the chest. If the neck is too tired, place a blanket behind your head and gently press it down. Both legs straight up, hands support the head now. Engage the inner core, take the ribs down to the opposite back pockets and lower the legs and come back up. The legs go down only so far as they can without arching the lower back, and come back up without flattening it. And lower and lift. Maintain the neutral pelvis, neutral spine. And lower and lift. Now bend the knees, and here we go to the crisscross. Remember that feeling of reaching the armpit over across. Really want to rotate the whole shoulder girdle. And then lower the head down, relax the neck and pull the knees to the chest. Slowly turn the head. Come to a neutral tabletop. Support the neutral spine. Lower the left foot down and then the right. If you have something behind your head, take it out. Stabilize around your neutral. We're going to do a neutral pelvic lift. Press evenly into both feet and hinge the hips to the ceiling. And then hinge back down. Remember, your hinge is the hip crease only, not the many hinges of the spine, of the vertebrae. Exhale, push up, maintain the neutral, and hinge back down. Keep stabilizing your neutral spine. One more time, exhale up, and hinge back down. Good, and pause a moment. Then we're going to turn to the stomach and extend the arms straight out in front of you. Superman flying, forehead onto the mat, legs separated almost as wide as the mat, and then relax them. Engage the inner core, knit and imprint the ribs. Press the forearms down into the mat as you lift your chest and head. Draw the shoulders down the back. And then release and relax completely. Soften the buttocks and the legs. Soften the shoulders. Then reset the low core, knit the ribs, press gently into the palms. Keep the forearms down. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Take a breath into the breastbone. And release back down. Relax completely. One more time, set the low core, knit the ribs. Raise the chest and head, draw the shoulders down the back. Maintain, this time lift both legs up, and then we're going to pulse 8 times the feet together. And then release. And let's lift up onto all fours. Hands underneath the shoulders. Engage the inner core. Knit the ribs around so you feel like you have that X of support underneath you. As you tuck the toes, we're going to cover the knees, push the hands into the mat, and lift the knees up off the mat. Push the floor away, and then lower the knees back down. Just 2 more times. Strong low core and oblique X across the front. Press into the hands to hover the knees up. Push the floor away, and lower the knees back down. One more time. Prepare the core, push into the hands, and lift. Maintain and breathe. And then lower. And move your hips back to your heels. If you want to stretch for the shoulder, extend the arms. If you don't like that pull, bring your arms down wherever they're comfortable. Okay, then sit yourself up. We're going to finish with a little massage. You can either use the ball or the roller. If you want to use the ball, you'll take your small ball and place it between the shoulder blades and then recline onto it. If you're going to use the roller, we're going to take the crossways on the mat and rest down on the roller. The bottoms of the shoulder blades are on the roller. So in either case, we have the support right around the shoulder blades. Hands behind the head, fingers interlaced. Engage the low core, knit the ribs, tuck your pelvis, and then raise your hips up. Make sure you keep the core supporting, and then roll along the spine. You can roll down to the bottom of the ribs, and up as far as the neck. Find the range of motion, that massage that feels good. You can continue to roll or find one little spot you really want to work in, or if you want a little extra chest expansion, make sure you keep connected from the pubic bone to the belly button and lower the hips down. Keep supporting the head, and if it feels comfortable, you can bend back even farther. Do keep your hands behind your head and let the breath move into the chest. And if you're in the chest expansion, reconnect with the low core, pull the pubic bone to the belly button, knit the ribs together, and lift yourself back up. If your hips are still off the floor, bring them down to the floor. Everybody pull the ribs around to the opposite back pockets, and you're going to come into a partial roll-up just as far as you can go, which won't be all the way, but I want you to stay and breathe, please. And then you're going to use your hands either on the roller, on the floor, or the backs of the legs to bring you up to sit. Extend extend the legs out straight, sit tall, then slide the hands down the legs. Relax the neck and shoulders. Please don't pull your shoulders up around the ears. We want to soften in the thorax, keep the upper back relaxed. Stretching the lower back, stretching the backs of the legs. And then sit tall. We'll finish by bringing the soles of the feet together, lifting the breastbone, and then tilt into a stretch for the inner thighs. Easy in the neck and shoulders. And then sit tall, open the breastbone, bring the knees together. I'm going to try standing up without using the hands if you're working on that, cross the ankles. If you do need to use your hands, also use your core. Don't just sink into the hands. Use the core either way. Bring yourself up to standing. And that's where we'll leave it. Thanks. I'll see you on Saturday. Thanks for being here. Have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.